Today we're taking it back to 2001, 25 years ago, when Ludacris released one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time, Word of Mouth. It is definitely a top 25 hip hop album of all time as well. I don't hear it mentioned as much because a lot of people are just biased, but this is criminally underrated. If you listen to this body of work from beginning to end, it is nothing but non-stop great music, great singles, and just the skits. Everything was, put together perfectly. So we're gonna go over word of mouth. Man, it's hard to believe that it's already been 25 years that Ludacris released this album. Well, we all know in 1999 he released Incognito. In 2000, back for the first time, but his third release was Word of Mouth. Something that stood out to me at this time about this album was the cover. It had Ludacris as a cartoon character, sort of, with the big afro, the dog with the big teeth, and just everything about it. It just really stood out. If you remember just watching the music videos off of this album, Ludacris was really animated. But not just animated, he was a lyrical guy. He's still lyrical to this day. But I'm not sure why he doesn't get the credit. If people just went back and listened to Word of Mouth, they would be surprised how great this album was. If I had five mics, this is definitely a 5 out of 5 mic album. So let's go over some of the songs and just the singles and just, everything about this album. So they released Area Codes July 3rd, 2001 with Nate Dogg. We all remember Area Codes. That was part of the Rush Hour soundtrack as well. Then we had the second single, Roll Out. That was released October 16th, 2001. Then we had Saturday. That was released January 8th, 2002. And then May 21st, 2002, Mouf came out. You still hear Mouf to this date. Mouf had I-20. Shout out to our guy I-20 and Mystical. That was a certified hip hop classic. One of the greatest hip hop songs of all time. But this album, it had great production as well. Bangladesh, Timberland, Swiss Beats, Organized Noise, Jazzy Faye. Ludacris had all the hottest producers at that time, but they were able to put an album that was cohesive and just make it well-rounded. It didn't sound out of place, but some of the best skits to this date I've ever heard on a hip-hop album came from Ludacris. Probably, let me see, of the 2000s, Ludacris and Nelly had some of the best skits that I could think of in the Saint Lunatics. But also this album, it had Little Fate. We all know Little Fate of DTP. So Ludacris was really putting his guys on at this time. If you remember on all of his albums, he had the DTP family on his music, on his soundtrack, or on his album. That's what made DTP special. I really appreciate a guy who gets on and he's putting his friends in position to get the bread as well. We had I-20 on here. I think the first song you can hear 2 Chainz on the beginning of Coming to America. But yeah, we had Coming to America. That was a great song. Great intro for sure. But my top favorite, probably top 5 songs, if I had to pick them, no particular order, probably Growing Pains. That was probably my number one favorite song. No particular order, but that was definitely my number one favorite song on this album. Keep It on the Hush, another one with Jazzy Faye. Classic, just classic Ludacris. But the Word of Mouth freestyle, when he said, I got rims in my skates. Come on, man. That's just classic Ludacris. He's just lyrical, animated, but he made it sound good. We don't really get that nowadays. We don't have, the lyrical rap when it comes to the popular music. But Ludacris was great at crossing over as well. So he was real, I don't know, he just made it that everyone can love his music. It didn't matter what culture you came from. So everyone loved Ludacris outside of, Fast and Furious. We all just loved his music. But a few other standout tracks to me, Freaky Things with Twista and Jagged Edge. Classic. When I first heard that song back in the day, also I think it had a Faison Love on that. He's talking at the beginning of that track, but that's just classic Ludacris. So Freaky Things, Cold Outside. Man, I'm trying to think what else is on this album. I'm looking at the track list right now. Cry Babies. Come on, man. This album was just flawless. But let me know in the comments 25 years later, how does this album stand up to you? I think it went platinum pretty quick back then, but as of 2022, it sold 4 million units in the US alone, over 4 million units in the US alone. That's a lot of records. Ludacris really did his thing with this album, man. I'm looking at some of the ratings back in the day. Looks like Hip Hop DX gave it a 3.5 out of 5. They're wrong. This is a 5 out of 5. But it looks like overall it was a positive rating system. He had positive rates or positive ratings about this album. A review score, I would probably say 4 out of 5. Most people gave them. But yeah, overall, great album. Let me know in the comments, how do you feel about Ludacris' discography? And is DTP one of the best groups, the best labels of all time? And also, how do you feel about Word of Mouth? Is it one of Ludacris's best albums? Let me know in the comments.